Fallout, a game that everybody likes or hates, a game that has been around since your mother was in diapers, a game that has divided the community in half because some people turned gay for Fallout New Vegas. But these are all things you already know. Today, we're going to be going over 10 bizarre things about Fallout that there is no way you knew. Subscribe to the channel right now or else Mr. Beast will molest you. Let's go. Now, there's a lot of times we can get steamy in Fallout. I mean, they do say that the Rizzler himself strikes in the wasteland. Nova, I'm in those panties. Piper, I'm piping later tonight. Cassie, let's just have sex.
Wait for me down there and don't forget the oil.
But did you know that in Fallout 2, you can actually become a porn star?
It's your favorite. Doctor, lawyer, teacher, plumber.
No, I'm not joking. There's a quest called Become a Porn Star in which you can approach the Golden Glove Studios, and if you have enough charisma, endurance, and agility, you can get the job and achieve your dreams of being a professional plumber. Fallout the Frontier was a huge expansion mod for Fallout New Vegas that would include a whole new quest line, characters, and story. It was probably the most hype a Fallout mod has ever received. Yes, even more than the Piper sex mod. It had the entire Fallout community excited. However, once it released, controversy followed immediately after. One of the developers actually had pedophilic content on one of their personal accounts, and they were forced to remove anything he had added to the mod. Fallout the Frontier also added things like having sex with the Deathclaw, making a mentally ill girl your sex slave, including several lines about feet and having multiple references to a foot fetish some of the developers had, and this is all just scratching the surface. The mod was taken down and re-uploaded multiple times, and it didn't quite live up to the hype it had. But you know what did live up to the hype? King James. Fallout the Frontier did have some cool stuff and ideas, but I mean, you literally have sex with the Deathclaw, so it was all overshadowed and nobody cared. They all should have just added Mirelurk sex instead, but it's safe to say Fallout the Frontier was a complete disaster. Blowing up the city of Megaton is every person's favorite thing to do. What's better than destroying and killing an entire civilization in a world where humanity is just trying to rebuild and survive? Just rig the bomb and watch the magic happen. But did you know that somehow there are people who survived the atomic explosion? We can find a group of refugees out taking shelter and injecting fentanyl in a rundown building. And for some reason they are actually hostile on sight. Maybe they know I'm the guy that blew their dumbass city up. And if we go back to Megaton, we can find none other than Moira Brown. Out of all the people that could have survived, it was this witch. Fallout 3's The Pit DLC, there is a disease by the name of TDC that plagues the inhabitants living there, and people contract it from the literal air because of the pit's terrible quality and infected waters. This disease causes people to eventually go insane and become a human that is outcast from society. But in some cases, these people's brains and bodies degenerate so bad that they aren't even human anymore, and they become a creature that goes by the name of Trogs. Trogs are super fast and hostile creatures that were once human and have gone completely insane. There are rumors that they can sometimes recognize the face of their loved ones, but I wouldn't trust them. However, the pit's king and wife are actually working on a cure that will grant immunity to this disease, and that cure is a baby. Now let me explain. Babies can't actually be born in the pit because of the TDC virus. It's like being on birth control without having to take the pills. And little baby Marie has actually been born, and she has been born with an immunity to this disease. But at the end of the DLC, we are forced to make the decision. Either kidnap the baby and bring her to the slaves, or leave her with her biological parents. However, there is one other option. We can simply just go up to her, and if we have the cannibal perk, we can put on the apron and eat her alive. And once we do, we will have immunity to radiation for the rest of the game. Okay, maybe not, because you can't actually eat the baby. It was a mod that was made over a decade ago called Acquired Immunity, but there is a huge Mandela effect surrounding the situation, and many people say that they vividly remember themselves eating the baby and nonetheless doing it on the Xbox 360 where there isn't any mods. It's a pretty crazy situation, and I'll be explaining it a bit more at the end of the video, but let me know, did you ever eat the baby? The fat man. No, not that one. This fat man is probably the most iconic weapon in Fallout history. But did you know that the fat man was actually a real life weapon? Well, kind of. It goes by the name Davy Crockett and was used in the Cold War / Vietnam War era, and it was used as a deployable missile launcher. So unlike the Fat Man, you don't throw it over your shoulder, but instead mount it and fire at the enemy. So if anyone ever says that the Fat Man isn't real, show them this video, call them stupid, and slap them in the face as hard as you can. In Fallout 3, the place where we grew up and where we start the game is Vault 101. We've got a bunch of our childhood friends here, as well as our dad who was still here before he went out to get the milk, and most importantly, our soulmate Amada is here. But you know how the story goes, we escape the vault, leaving forever to go look for our dad. But later in the game, we can actually come back and help the vault with the crisis that they are going through. If we decide for them that they need to open the vault door in order to scavenge and repopulate, then we can unlock a bunch of random encounters where we see multiple residents from Vault 101 out in the wasteland. This includes seeing Amada run into the Enclave.
I'm from Vault 101. Please, you've got to help me.
Of course. We're always ready to assist American citizens in distress. Can you tell us where your vault is?
I've got the location right here on my Pip-Boy. Why?
Excellent. That's all we need from her. Open.
We can even save Amada, but she doesn't seem very appreciative and doesn't have much to say.
Stay away from me! This is all your fault!
We can also find Susie Mack from Vault 101, and she's actually kind of nice to us.
Wow, who would have thought I'd run into you out here? It's a small world. But not as small as the vault, I guess. It's not fair, I know, but it's the way it is. I know Amada still misses you.
She tells us that Amada misses us, and what can I say? I can lay it better than Butch can. And speaking of Butch, we can also find him in Rivet City as a barber, and if our karma is low enough, we can even have him as a companion. The Cabot family has been alive for hundreds of years, and they do this by using alien technology. They use something by the name of the mysterious serum, and this keeps them young and healthy so they don't pass away. Their father, Lorenzo Cabot, stumbled across a bunch of this stuff, and they now have him locked up in a room at the bottom of an insane asylum. But did you know that in the Far Harbor DLC, you can actually use the mysterious serum in order to save someone's life? A man that is lying down sick with radiation poisoning who's unable to get help from the medics. Or you can let him die if you want. But after convincing Dr. Teddy to let you use some of that serum on this guy, you can then inject his penis and voila, he is instantly cured and alive. But then again, these serums are limited and very valuable, so if you wanted to keep them, I wouldn't blame you. At the end of Fallout 3, President Eden gives you a modified FEV virus, which he tells you to insert into the Project Purity water, and that it's gonna kill everything infected with the radiation, like ghouls, super mutants, and mirelurks, making the world a better place. So if we go ahead and decide to listen to him, we can see the consequences of our actions all over the wasteland. In the Broken Steel DLC, which continues the main storyline of Fallout 3, we take only a few sips of the Project Purity water, we pass out and die like your drunk dad used to do. And when we visit Rivet City, we can see a bunch of people all lying in pain and dying because of us. We did a pretty good job. Let me tell you the story of the most disturbing vault to ever exist. Vault 11. How Vault 11 worked was that there would be a new overseer elected every single year. It sounds normal until you realize that the vault had to sacrifice one person every year or else the entire vault would die. And that person that would be killed is the overseer. Every year a new overseer would be elected and killed. This cycle would be continued for decades. The vault shares a lot of similarities and was definitely inspired by Shirley Jackson's book, The Lottery, in which you probably heard about in school. But eventually, there would be new blocks in Vault 11, which were basically groups or clans, with the Justice block being the most powerful one. And a man named Nathan Stone got in some trouble with some people from the Justice block, so they decided that they were going to vote him as overseer. But his wife, Catherine Stone, was obviously devastated at this news, so she asked the block what she could do for them to not go through with this, and they decided that Catherine had to do sexual acts for every single member in the Justice block. Catherine complied and would do these favors for months, but when the day came to vote for an overseer, her husband was still elected anyways, and obviously Catherine was enraged at this after all she had gone through. So she went on a murder spree, killing every single person she could, and this of course led to everyone hating her, and now Catherine was elected as the new overseer. They would both be killed in a battle that spread throughout the whole vault, and by the end of it, only 5 people remained alive in Vault 11. They decided that they weren't gonna sacrifice anybody, but just instead all be killed at the same time. However, once they made their decision, they were not greeted with guns, but rather a congratulations. The experiment was just to see how far humans would go if told by a higher authority to do something. And when the people still alive heard about this, they were sick to their stomach. After all, they had been killing people all those years for no reason. So they decided to all take their own lives. Except one guy, but no one knows where he went, who he is, or even if he's alive. Many people who were there back in the day may remember the story of the number station in Fallout 3. The story goes that at Galaxy News Radio, if you kill the owner and producer 3Dog, you can actually hear Galaxy News Radio transform into a number station, which are actually a real thing used by governments to broadcast secret messages. But even after killing 3Dog, his voice would still be heard broadcasting numbers. Many players would try decoding these messages and would find that what was being played were dates for people's deaths of the past. But more disturbingly, future events like the coronavirus outbreak were predicted. But guys, please subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video, and if you want to learn more about the baby Mandela effect, click the video on the screen where I get to the bottom of the truth and do a detailed investigation into this crazy situation. Thank you guys for watching. Check out my other channels in the description, leave a comment down below of what you thought about the video, and have a great day.